physical manifestation of the problem. It's about looking at the real cause. And as Jesus says over and over, sin and guilt are the real cause of these problems. So your job is to look at that, start to become aware of those kinds of emotions and thoughts, and then release them.
No, it's not guilt, that's for sure.
Well, no, at the root cause, underlying all physical pain and suffering, and is the perception of guilt. But it's very deep seated. So it's not a conscious, oh, I feel guilty for this necessarily. It's a much deeper metaphysical guilt. It sits at the very core of your mind. That's the foundation of the ego, which says, because I exist. Okay, so this is how deep it goes. Because I seem to exist as a separate entity, I am sinful and guilty, because that means I must have destroyed oneness in order to exist as a separate entity with my own identity. And so at the very core of the ego is that metaphysical guilt. And that's unconscious, right? And it's unconscious, it's buried deep in your mind. And then it manifests in these ways, like physical pain, suffering of any kind. There's a guilt underneath it, because guilt, what does guilt demand?
Punishment.
Yeah. If you really believe that you're sinful and that you're guilty, then punishment is the next logical step in the ego's delusional thought system. And so then we punish ourselves, and we do it in all kinds of ways, but the physical body is one of the primary ways. So if you're suffering pain, then you experience the pain, you experience the separation, because I'm in pain and other people aren't, so I seem to be separate. I seem to be very identified with my body, and I seem to be suffering. And now the ego is happy, because it's confirmed the thought system separation and guilt and sin and punishment, and that's its whole existence. Those thoughts and emotions.
Forgiveness would go deeper than Reiki healing, I presume.
Yeah, much deeper. Yeah. Because Reiki healing, is about working with energy, and I'm not saying it can't be helpful, but it's still a form of magic. What you're trying to do is you're trying to fix the problem on the level of the problem, right? On this level, on the surface level, the level of the material world, which is where the ego is placed. That's what the ego is created.
On the material level, okay.
Yeah, and you can't, Einstein said it beautifully. He said the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. We can't solve these problems that are caused by this deep metaphysical guilt on the level of form, because the form is just a projection. It's just the surface. It's a manifestation of this deeper unconscious guilt. We have to go to another level, which is what the Course is always trying to get us to do. To go, okay, let's really look into your mind and really start to see. So what are the thoughts and what are the beliefs that are going on there? And if you really dig enough, you will find underneath all forms of pain and suffering is unconscious guilt. Actually, the desire on the part of the ego to be punished. And as long as you believe that, then the punishment will continue in the form of the physical pain, the condition, the sickness, or in another way. Some people might heal, so they might use magic to heal a particular condition, but then the suffering comes in another way. Then they start having financial issues, they start having relationship problems, or whatever, because on some level they feel like they deserve to be punished. So if the physical pain is gone, then ego creates another way of punishing. And so it's really going to the root cause and saying, I'm not sinful and I'm not guilty, because I cannot have separated from my source. That's the course's underlying truth on which all of it rests. I cannot really have done it. I cannot be separate from the life source that created me, that I am. That idea that I could be is a complete delusion.
Okay.
And so just keep digging. This is there for a reason. It's there to help you, to show you what it is that you need to really look at.
All right.
And once you've really looked at it and you've really got to the root cause, the back pain is very likely to disappear because it's a manifestation, it's a symptom, it's not the cause. So don't treat it on the level of cause because it's not the cause. The cause is in your mind.
Yes. All right, thanks. I
Does that
shall
make
do that.
sense?
First thing tomorrow, I'm going to do the forgiveness.
Well, it's an ongoing thing. Whenever these thoughts come up, you've just got to mind watch. Got to really look and go, okay, am I now going into a victim story? Am I now feeling sorry for myself? Am I making the pain real in my mind? Am I looking externally for some kind of solution? Not in my mind. That's okay. Well, Reiki healing might help, or this might help, or because that's not really where the source of the problem lies.
Okay.
And forgiveness will get you there. And I'm not saying that will happen overnight. But if you keep asking, and you keep digging, and you keep just watching your mind, noticing these thoughts as they arise, and noticing the emotions, and then using the forgiveness processes that you have. You can use any of the lessons. You can use the 10-step process I've given you. You can use the whole Ho'oponopono. Use what you find is helpful, and just really let that go. What you might also want to do, I just had a thought, is as part of the Art of Letting Go course. Remember, I asked you to write out your forgiveness statement. It's in your course manual. So I, Hazel, forgive. And then just take someone who there's still a grievance towards. Maybe that's your son, your ex-husband, whoever. And you just write it out. 35 times a day. You write out your forgiveness statement.
Okay.
And if you do that twice a day, 35 times, that's 70 times for 7 days. It's nearly 500 times.
Yeah.
That might really, because in the writing, the whole point of the writing it out is you're spending time on it. And you actually, it's like an affirmation. You're saying it over and over. Every time you write it, you're thinking the words. And at some point, hopefully you'll get so sick of writing that you'll just go, I just let this go. Really. So if you've still got that manual that I sent you, if you pull it up, it's on page 30 something. But I can send it to you again.
Okay.
And just try that, because forgiveness is the answer, and just use any of those techniques that you find helpful. Maybe all of them, because that's the key. If you can really do this, you'll find that most likely the pain will disappear. And you experienced a little glimpse of that, didn't you, during the Art of Letting Go course last year?
I did what?
When you did the initial course last year, it was a year ago almost, or more. I remember you had about 3 days where you were pain-free.
Okay.
So it's possible. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I remember.
I remember very clearly.
My body purged itself. That I remember.
And then I remember you saying, I haven't had pain for 3 nights.
Wow.
One of the sessions we did.
Yeah.
So that was a little glimpse to show you, look, this is possible. It is possible to be pain-free.
I'm surprised that I barely remember that.
Don't you?
No.
Well, watch some of the sessions. They're still on the Facebook group. If you go back, you'll see. You said it. I remember. Debbie probably remembers too.
I do remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a little glimpse of you can actually be pain-free. I think what had happened is you just released some of that unconscious guilt, and there was like a purging and a healing, and the body was like, the relief comes. Maybe you've just kind of gone back into that a little bit over the last year.
No, well, I don't have it during the day normally, and I've even got a headache from it. So, fat head.
Yeah, well, remember the ego likes pain. It sounds sick, doesn't it? It sounds like, well, why would anything want pain and suffering? But
Right.
the ego does. It can't exist without a degree of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So it's just that pain and suffering you should allow it to help you to go within, to point you within, to go, okay, let me really look at the root cause of this pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And then, or at the root of it, there's always the separation of the ego. There's the guilt and the sin that it feels that are real because the separation's real, and then the punishment, the desire, the call for punishment, which means pain and suffering in some form or another.
Yeah.
You're doing it to yourself. It's just unconscious.
Mm.
So it's like digging into that unconscious and
Yeah.
letting it reveal itself and release. And as you do that, you'll probably find the pain starts to dissipate. And in the meantime, you can use magic, you can take your pills to help you manage with it, but that's not the ultimate solution.
Well,
it's
it
just
didn't.
like trying to manage the problem and alleviate some of the discomfort. Why do you actually try and get to the root cause?
I took anti-inflammatory 3 this morning. It's done nothing. So I'm quite horrified.
You've taken what?
At 3 this morning, pain was so bad, I took another anti-inflammatory.
But so what's it telling you? It's saying that drugs aren't really working, are they?
It's not. It wasn't.
So that's not the solution, clearly. You've got to go to the root cause.
Yeah.
And that's in your mind. And also what happens is if you take high doses of these, your body gets resistant and you have to take more and more.
Yeah, no, sure.
Achieve the same effect, which these are not good for you. As
But 2
Debbie will
nights ago,
probably tell you.
From the beginning of the week, I was only taking 1 anti-inflammatory a night and nothing else, and I was fine. And I still had a bit of pain, but I could sleep with it. It was dull. But last night was a totally different story. Boy. Anyway, sorry, but I'll get your message. Thanks.
Okay. Well, good luck. Just keep
Thank you.
keep working on the forgiveness. I will send you a link to the form. In fact, it's actually in every email I send you. There's actually a link to that. In the morning processes. I think under a higher purpose one, under number 3, there's a link to the course manual online. And you can if you go to the second page, which is the table of contents, you'll see if there's a line item saying forgiveness, writing forgiveness process. It's on about page 31 or 2 or something.
All right.
And I just try it. Just if you're writing that out, it's 35 times a day, 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening.
What did you actually call it here?
I'll tell you exactly what I called it and I'll tell you exactly what page it's on. In fact, I'll share my screen with you.
I've got the contents out.
Sorry?
I've got the table of contents in front of me.
Oh, have you? Okay. Yeah, so it's on about, so it's under the shorter forgiveness processes.
Yeah, I've done that. I do.
And then it's the last page of those, which is, I think it's page 33 or something.
All right. Seeing different perspectives, that's 33.
No, yeah, it'll be before, it's the page before that. That was the start of the exercises.
15 boxes.
Let me see, yeah, before that.
Out the box.
Yeah, I'll share my screen with you, so I'm just pulling it up.
Number 24, the 10-step letting go written process.
No, not that. although that might help you as well. You know, all these things can be helpful. The one I'm talking about is
it's very shorter letting go process. So
yeah, and then at the end of that, number 5 of that, right? So here's the course information and exercise pack. I'll pull it up and I'll share my screen with you, and then you can see.
all right. Sorry about this, Debbie. I hope
No,
you're
it's
getting
okay.
something from.
No, Hazel, don't be silly now, please.
This is what these sessions are for, you know. It's to discuss if you've got
We're all learning from one
issues and
another,
problem.
really.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so there we go. Can you see the screen?
It's going to come up. We've made the space for it.
Okay, there we go. You should be able to see it now.
Not yet.
Just see that.
There we
Just
go.
see, there you
Yeah, so very shorter letting go processes. So if you click that, then you've got the 2-step letting go process. There's the Ho'oponopono, the alternative Ho'oponopono. So there it is, putting your forgiveness in writing. Okay, it's on page 32
Okay.
of the course manual. I think this is an updated version, but I think the older version is that it's the same. Putting your forgiveness in writing. And so saying I, and then you put your name, your full name. I, Hazel, forgive you, and then whoever. Like if there's still a grievance, there's still some resentment, you just name the person. My projection for, and then what you think they've done to you, for doing this to me, whatever, for victimizing me, attacking me, making me feel upset. You just write your little, doesn't have to be an essay, but just a phrase that describes it. All is forgiven and released completely. We are one. And so the power of this is you write this out by hand. 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening. That's 70 times a day.
Involved, though.
Hey?
I feel there's no one else involved.
Well, so maybe you need to forgive yourself. You can adapt this. You could say, I forgive you, you know, Hazel, the little self, my projection, for getting sick, for getting a sore back.
Yeah.
I think the root of the issue, and I mean, you steer your own inquiry on this, but it's deeper than that, because at the end of the day, it's always about your own guilt. So maybe you feel guilty on some level for not doing enough during your working life to support yourself in your old age. Maybe that's, you know.
That's dead on.
Well, if that hits the hot button, you really feel there's some emotion there and there's some charge, then you use that and you write that out in the statement. I, Hazel, forgive. So I, you can change this and you can adapt it. You could say I, you know, and my higher self, forgive you, Hazel, the little self, my projection, for believing that you know you didn't do enough, that you didn't work hard enough, you didn't do enough while you were working to support yourself, and now you feel like you're a burden on your sons, whatever. That's up to you to come up with that statement.
Okay.
You write it out like whatever feels true for you, and you know, as you keep writing it, you could even change it. There's no absolute set form. It's use whatever's helpful, but it's an exercise to help you, to give you a process to kind of work through this stuff. And if you're doing it over and over, it's like an affirmation every time you write it, 70 times a day. If you do that for a week, that's got to have an impact. It's got to help you.
Okay.
So try that and let us know next week. So start tomorrow and then just do it for a week until next Sunday, and let us know how it goes.
Just can't find this particular page. what number was this page?
This is page 32, which it should be in your manual, because I think it was in the older version. But as I said, in your email, in point 3 of your email, let me just show you. Every day.
You know what I've got page 32? I've got thinking out the box with all those different boxes and things.
All right. Okay.
That's
So
what
just
I've
go
got.
back a bit. Go back. Maybe it's page 31 in your version.
It says various short letting go processes. That's,
Yeah.
I know that's page 29. Don't know what's
Yeah.
happened to 31.
So maybe you didn't. Maybe
I,
you didn't.
I printed it all out, so I don't know.
Maybe you missed the page.
Missed it.
But if you look, yeah, you probably missed a page. You can download this.
Yeah.
You can download this. Let me just show you. In your email, your daily email, you'll see.
I've still got it somewhere, but that is strange. Number 31's missing.
Okay, so you obviously didn't print it out. So in this daily schedule that I put in your email, you go down to morning practices. You're looking, Hazel. Just look at the screen. I'm showing you. So there's the email.
Yeah.
So here, in point 3 of your morning practices,
Yeah.
click on this link here. Click or tap here to see the ALG course manual. And you click on that.
Number 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it'll open and you can download it. That's the latest version.
Okay.
The version I just showed you.
Thank you.
And it's on page 32. Okay, so there it's downloaded. Well, it's opened it, and then you can actually save as to your computer.
Okay.
And you can save the updated file, and you could just print out those pages if you want to.
All right.
So the quickest way of doing it is you go down, go to various shorter letting go processes, click on there, scroll down, and go down until you get to number 5, putting your forgiveness in writing, page 32. Okay.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So if you just print page 32, then you've got the guidance for the exercise, and just write it out on a blank piece of paper, 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening.
I'll have to go and get ink. I've got no ink either. Just in a bad way financially, but anyway.
Well, that's probably part of it as well. That's part of your stress. Stress
No, it's
doesn't
financial.
help matters at all. You might also want to try some of these advanced letting go techniques.
Yeah.
See here, if you go to the next page, these are all really helpful. They're just little processes that you can use, and I've given you a whole exercise.
Yes.
In a meditation, which you can download there. All right, that'll get you an 8-phase letting go meditation, a healing meditation, which you can listen to, which guides you through all of these letting go processes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Do this exercise every day, 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening for the next week, and let us know how it goes next Sunday.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Debbie, how are you doing? Anything going on? Want to share anything?
No, all good, thank you.
Okay. Nothing arising.
No, something did it this morning, but I've dealt with it now, so thank you. No, all
Okay.
good.
If you want to share it because you feel like it would help you or others, then feel free. Otherwise, you can pass.
I've just noticed that if one can catch oneself resisting something,
Mm-hmm.
and you just observe it, it'll go away.
Hmm.
It's quite interesting if you can just catch yourself, be aware of what you're doing.
Hmm.
It actually is quite extraordinary how the resistance just goes.
Hmm. Awareness is the key. There's really only two aspects to forgiveness. And the first is that awareness. If you don't have awareness of your thoughts and emotions, then there's no way you can consciously choose anything. They're just running you. So that's number one. And then the second phase, if you do that, that's usually about half the job, maybe more, done, because it does start to dissipate if you just have that awareness. The Course is saying forgiveness is the choice, the conscious choice to let it go. Say, okay, like I see this, I see the thought, I see the emotion, I see that it's not really serving me, and I'm willing to let it go. And then you release the thoughts, the emotion, the energy, which is easier said than done, but that's why we do these meditations and the breath work, because it helps that process of like, okay, I'm aware of it. I can actually just, because all it is an energy, isn't it? It's just thoughts and emotion.
Just an energy, that's right, yeah.
So it's just about dropping that energy, letting it go, not thinking
Letting it go,
thoughts,
yeah,
feeling emotion.
Not getting involved as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, that's all forgiveness is. It's the willingness and the ability then to let go, not think the thoughts, not feel the emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can be a process.
Yeah, just to observe them from a distance as well.
Yeah, you can start doing that. That's a great step forward spiritually. To be able to observe and go, okay, I see these, but this isn't really me. I'm not really identified with these. They kind of, and then they start to lose their power, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And you often don't have to do anything about them either, because just observing them makes them go.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a dissipation, and it just for deep-seated stuff. I think the Course's idea of choice, that you need to choose to let it go, is very helpful, because sometimes these patterns are very deep-seated, very entrenched, and so we actually have to make a conscious choice to go, okay, I'm gonna let this go. I'm not gonna hold on to this, and I will use whatever process, technique to help me to do that. If I breath work, meditation, 10-step letting go processes, whatever. These are all just techniques to help you to do that. They're not the end result. They're just the mechanism, how you actually do it, because it's the hardest thing. If it was easy to let go, then we'd all
You've all done it already, yeah.
It's not easy always to let go, especially if something's deep-seated.
Yeah.
But, if you're really determined and you have that awareness, and then you use these processes, it's got to go sooner or later.
Yeah.
Or not practice all this kind of thing and not have a letting go starting to happen. And then, then the miracles and the healing just happen automatically. So what I do, Hazel, is just forget trying to heal the back pain. Just focus on, okay, I'm healing my mind here. I'm healing my mind of the unconscious guilt and the belief that I'm somehow sinful, that I'm unworthy. All these deep-seated beliefs. That's your job, is to heal that.
Yeah.
The back pain will sort itself out.
Okay. I've also become aware of that, the fact that it's actually hurting me between my shoulder blades, which I can't remember when last I did that. It's just kind of making my whole back sore.
So always try and, like, remember, the ego uses the physical body and it uses pain. So what it's trying to get you to do is to focus on the physical symptoms, the physical pain, and forget and not go into the mind.
Yeah.
That's where your causes. So the physical pain is just a mask. It's a distraction technique.
Yes.
Take your mind away from the real cause of
Sure.
the suffering.
Okay. Yeah.
So just remember that, like, okay, you know, you can just smile. Okay, so the ego is giving you a hard time today. There's this back pain going on. It's quite sore. But just that awareness of being able to zoom out and look at it and say, look, yeah, I see what's going on here. And I can kind of have a little smile about it. Because then you're onto the ego. And then you've got its number. You're like, I see you. I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to fall for the trick, because it is just a trick. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, you know, this pain's terrible and poor me. And then you just focus on the pain.
Yes.
And of course, the more you focus on the pain, the more the problem becomes real. And that problem is the metaphysical guilt and the
Okay.
sin and the desire for punishment.
All right.
So just be, and it can be a game. You can go, okay, I'm mind watching all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, you know, how the ego is trying to suck me into this, using this, you know, this seeming physical condition, this pain.
Yeah.
The game is, okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to just be aware of it, and I'm just going to observe it. And like, okay, you know, I see what it is. It's physical pain, but that physical pain isn't the real problem.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try and heal it on that level. So whereas most people just focus on, okay, I've got a pain, well, I need to eliminate the pain. So the doctor says the drugs will work, so I take the drug to eliminate the pain. It's purely on the symptom level. It's not really addressing the cause.
You're doing that for me. Yeah.
Okay, anything else arising for anyone?
No, just
Yeah?
just that.
Yeah, well, that's an issue, and it's there for your healing.
Yeah.
It's there to point you deeper into your mind to heal some of that unconscious guilt and sin and fear that's still resident there, and that's its only purpose.
Okay.
So remember that the back pain is actually your friend if you see it that way.
Okay.
It's actually pointing you within to the real source, the real cause of the problem.
Yeah.
So, so let me check in. What's going on? So I'm feeling pretty peaceful right now. Just had a run. Yeah, I think there's just more clarity about my path. I think I've had times where I've gone, you know, shouldn't I go back to the UK and rejoin my family? And now I'm like, no, it's just clear, and that block seems to have gone. And so now it's just putting it in practice and going, okay, well, I need to do the visa, and I need to work out my income for the last year, and, you know, just the practical steps and unfold. But it feels like that sort of block has kind of lifted, which was in my own mind. I recognize that. Sometimes we have to work through these things. And yeah, on other fronts, things seem to just be flowing a bit more. In my other business, the card payment and utilities business, that's a bit of flow happening there, which is nice. And yeah, I've got a potential corporate finance deal that might come through this week. We'll see. I mean, it's still not in the bag, but it's looking fairly positive. So it's just interesting, like when you actually unblock yourself and you get into a clearer space, then often these, you know, what shows up around you just reflects. That's the principle of inside out sort of manifestation. So it's not really about trying to get something externally. Oh, you know, I need to do that to make the money. That's, again, it's on the level of the symptom, on the level of form. It's more about, okay, let me just really look at these blocks, and if I can release them, then that just carries through into my entire life. Whatever I'm doing just has a different effect. So yeah, pretty good. What else is arising? Oh, there was a death in the, well, I wouldn't say not in the human family, but I'm staying with my sister at the moment, and she's got parrots. And one of the female parrot, Jasmine was her name, died in the night 2 nights ago. She had an egg apparently stuck in her. Sometimes these eggs get stuck and they can't dislodge them, and then if it doesn't move, they will die. So she died in the night, and it's just interesting to watch, because now my sister's beating herself up about the fact that she wasn't there, she didn't check it out, she didn't go, and she should have known that the parrot was in distress. They'd been fed earlier in the day, and about 5 o'clock, and it seemed they were both fine. My brother had fed them. So, but it's interesting how the mind then just latches onto that, and it's, now I'm going to self-flagellate. Now I'm guilty. I should have done this, and I said, that's just like, stop beating yourself up, because you did the best you could, and it's over. It is what it is. That the parrot is no more. It's departed to parrot heaven.
But you can't just say that to somebody. They're grieving the parrot as well, surely.
Well, yeah, but what is grief? If you really look at it, that's why I said it's an interesting discussion. Because what is grief? Yeah, is she really grieving because of the parrot, or is she grieving because she feels like she's lost something, which she does. She said, oh well, actually, we had a perfect little animal family, and now it's all been disrupted. So there's it's like there's an attachment to the form of, okay, well, I thought it was all perfect, and then something dies, and this shouldn't be. Which is the self, that must be the ego self invested in that. Because I said, but how do you know? She said, it needn't have happened. I said, but how do you know? It's not for you to decide when something should leave the earthly realm or not. Maybe it was Jasmine's time to go, and then that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Let her go. So the grief is really a combination of self-flagellation, of guilt, and then a sense of loss, at like, oh well, I've lost something, and so now I'm grieving because I've lost this parrot, and that's compounded by the guilt of like, well, I could have done something to prevent this, and so now I feel guilty and I feel terrible, and of course the ego just loves that. It just juices the negative emotions and makes there's really no value to it, because that's just making you feel terrible.
How old was it? How old was the parrot?
I think about 10 years. And they had maybe less. They had a previous mate, because there's 2 of them. So the male's been now left on his own again for the second time. I think what got her, so it's the past again coming up, because a few years ago, the other parrot, the other female, got poisoned by rat poison.
Oh no.
They were trying to poison rats, which were invading the cage, and then some of the rat poison got left out, and she ate it and died. So it's brought up that whole, oh well, I'm really bad because I've lost the second parrot, and I'm negligent, but it's pointless. It doesn't achieve anything. It's just self-flagellation. So, but it's just interesting to watch how the ego will use that situation to perpetuate the thought system of guilt and sin and death, and oh, it's all very heavy and dark, and I'm sure she'll move beyond it in who knows how long it will take. But why can't you just drop it in a half an hour, 1 hour. There's no reason why you should suffer necessarily.
My friend Michael had an interesting experience. His beloved cat died.
Okay.
And the cat that literally followed him everywhere would walk into his office, sit on his lap all day long, sleep with him in the bed at night, walk everywhere with it, everything. And he was absolutely on the floor with it. And as you can imagine, his, beloved pet, his old companion actually, has gone. Deep suffering. And he realized that he was feeling sorry for himself. The ego self was feeling sorry for himself. And he said that wasn't the way to honor the cat. So he was able to see that there's a legitimate grief of, or feeling that something has gone because it's no longer there. And then there's also this aspect of oneself that is just feeling sorry for yourself. So he was able to work with the feeling sorry for himself, and what was left was the feeling that the cat had gone. And now, this is a week later now, he's no longer in pain for the cat. He just feels the joy of having had the cat and the companionship and the love. I found that quite an interesting separation of feeling sorry for yourself and the flagellation, of course, because of, he didn't take it to the vet fast enough, had he not got rid of these other cats who were stressing the cat, a whole story, which is just an ego, a separate self story. But it was just, I found it was interesting that he separated the legitimate grief or the legitimate sorrow that somebody wasn't there, and now from the I'm feeling sorry for myself.
Well, that's interesting, because Jesus says the idea that you are alone because there's not another body there is an insane idea. This is an ego idea.
Absolutely, and he understood that by just getting the fact that he was the separate self was making the story.
But the legitimate sorrow, there actually is no legitimate sorrow if you really hold to the course.
I didn't mean to say it like that. That he does miss the cat. The cat has gone. There is one does feel sad.
But, yeah, that's still part of his. I'm a body, and my companion in the body is now gone, and I don't have that. He
understood that fully, but once he understood that, he was able to let it go. So it was very quick. By 3 days later, he was feeling fine.
Yeah, so use the course of principles to just help them to.
Well, yes.
Deal with it. Which is the only thing you can do. That's designed to be applied, and not to make exceptions, as tempting as it is. It's like, oh no, not in this situation. But
he wasn't making exceptions at all. It's probably me misspeaking here. He's just found the difference between self-pity and the feeling that he'd lost his cat.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is he just applied, and it took a few days to process it, which is fine. It generally is. We all have an ego. We all have a human level. If you lose something close to you, something dies, that there's going to be a feeling. And it's like, okay, well, now I've got to just process that and deal with, release that feeling, and that can take time. Obviously, the quicker you can do it, the better, because there's no point wallowing in guilt and grief for days, weeks, months, years. It doesn't achieve anything. Anyway, thanks for sharing that. So just quick one. In 5 minutes, let's break off, because I agreed to meet with Efrat. Remember the lady who did the peace meditation 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So we're doing another one at 8 o'clock, but they want to do a bit of a half an hour kind of intro to just tell people what it's all about, and there might be some other people from Israel joining us. So it's a little bit of a gathering, holy encounter with other people on the same path. I think they're all Course in Miracles students. So we'll just kind of go with the flow on that. You'd be both welcome to join if you want to, and then we'll do the meditation with Hazel.
Thank you, Jono. Thanks a lot, eh? Thanks, Hazel.
Yeah, thank you.
So let me just give you before you duck off, let me just give you the URL. So if you type that in, what's happening? Type message. Okay, there we go. Okay. So if you just copy and paste this, that should take you straight into the session. Would you both get that?
Thank you.
World Peace Prayer online. If you need, the password should be encoded in there, but if it asks you for a password or anything, I'll just give you the full details. Yeah. You've got the meeting ID and a passcode. If you need to put them in. Okay, so there they are.
Thank you very much.
There's the passcode. You shouldn't need the meeting ID, but
thank you. Good luck.
All there. So copy that before I end the.
What's it?
Meeting.
Is that
sorry.
8933. Is that the password to get in?
No. So the meeting ID is 82933594303. But if you just click either of those links, worldpeaceprayer.online, will redirect you to that Zoom link. But the Zoom link, the direct link, will also work. The password and the meeting ID are encoded in that. So you shouldn't need to put in the meeting ID, and you shouldn't need to put in the password. But just in case, if it prompts you for the password is 572661. So just copy that whole little bit in the chat. You've got it.
Well, it's not there anymore.
No, it's in the chat. If you open your chat box, Hazel.
Oh, okay.
And you can copy it all and paste it into a Word document or notepad. And you've got all the details. You found it?
Yeah.
Okay, so just copy that. And as I said, we're going to join at, in like 5 minutes. I said I'd be in there at about 7:30 our time.
Thank
and then
you.
we'll have a little intro and stuff and chat, and then we'll do the meditation at 8 p.m.
Great. Thank you so much, Jono.
All right.
Thanks, Hazel. Good luck.
So you're both going to join. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Sorry, I just won't be tonight.
Are you not going to do it, Hazel?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. So see you tomorrow at 6:30 for another meditation.
No, sure.
Okay.
Okay. What's it called? World Peace Prayer Online.
World Peace Prayer.online. But why don't you just copy it? Because I've put all the details there. Copy it from the chat. Eh?
How do I copy it?
Just go into the chat.
Highlight it, and then I've got the chat open.
Yes.
Just highlight it.
Highlight it. Right click and go copy.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Copy, and then you can go into another application like a text. You open a text document or Word, and you can paste all that in there, and you've got it. Because these details will remain for next week. So save them somewhere. That's what I'd recommend. And you can use them again. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. So good luck with the back story. Try what I suggested for the next week. Just writing off those 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening.
What exactly should I say? I don't know.
Well,
sure.
just use the format that I've given you and create something where you like that feels like you resonate with it. That you're forgiving. Maybe it's that you forgive yourself for when I said that spot on. You forgive yourself for not doing enough while you were working to now support yourself, and now you feel like you're a burden or something. So you just phrase it as what works for you, because it's your process.
Exactly what my son overseas is saying. I should be working still because I didn't plan my life. Little does he know, every time my ex-husband was off work because he's drinking, I continued until I was 70 working.
Yeah, but just so look at, if you're feeling a charge, if that pushes your buttons when he says that, then what's that telling you, Hazel? It's telling you that actually there's a charge there, that there's a part of your mind that feels guilty for that and defensive.
It's like ludicrous. In fact, my friends I tell, they just laugh. No, I couldn't, it's unbelievable. I can't believe he's thinking this.
But notice, okay,
Anyway.
so if he says that, do you get emotional? Do you get upset?
Well, I'm upset because he doesn't talk to me.
No, but dig deeper. Are you really upset? I'm never upset for the reason I think. It's lesson number 6 in the course. I'm never upset for the reason I think.
But I'm bloody sure that's what set my back off in the first place.
Yeah, but if you dig deeper, Hazel, that's the point. You dig a little bit deeper into this, you'll find it's not really your son. It's your own belief that's just being triggered by him. And that is maybe a deep-seated belief that you should have done more, that you actually are unworthy, that you were negligent, and that somehow now you deserve to suffer for all of that.
All right.
That's what it's pointing to, and that might be at the root cause of all this back pain.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
So use that exercise, the writing exercise, to express that as you want to. Like, just express what I've said in your own words. It really resonates with you, and write it 35 times a day in the morning, 35 in the evening, because every time you say it, it's like you are releasing something.
Yeah.
So you're doing 70 little lilies of forgiveness, as Jesus would call them, a day. Times 7, that's 490, nearly 500 times. That's got to have an impact on this if you do it for the next week.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
Try that. All right, I've got to go and join the session. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening.